Hello everybody, welcome back to wolfeei Extras. Today I am recording a video on 18 hours, 19 hours of not sleeping, but I have consumed a coffee, so we should be okay. Regardless, today we're doing a video talking about a second MCC team making challenge. Yes, that is true. I've set up a content thing that isn't ending after episode 1. Let's go! Anyways, last time I challenged you to make MCC teams, I gave you a roster of, I think it was like 50, maybe 51, 52-ish players. The roster I made in this video, technically the first one that was made, was as follows. This was the final roster for this event. You know, give your thoughts if you want to, it doesn't really matter. Regardless, I challenge you again to make more teams, and I have prepared a new roster for this, and I want to say some things before we get active in terms of team making. Regardless, first, this was the roster last time. I've tried to make the roster a bit more unique. It is not exclusively people who weren't in this draft, but it is mostly people who weren't in this draft. And I've added some extra people in there, which means you have a bit more wiggle room for benching. Because I noticed that we ended up getting some results that ended up being a little similar. So hopefully the extra few people that I've added to the list of players will help. We'll get to that in a little bit. I will also be making my team draft here, of course, in this video. This is going to be the one that I will appoint as best. Next time I will try to keep track a little bit more. This is one of the more recent ones that was posted in my Discord, which is where you should submit these if you want the highest chance of them being looked at. This was the one that I liked the most. It was posted by, if we go over here, hello, by Zyke. I don't know how to pronounce this username, but by this person in my Discord. So if you want to submit stuff, go join my Discord. It is linked in the description down below. Regardless, this was the one that I liked the most. I'll try to give a bit of an explanation as to why I like it that much, or like it the most. So you maybe have some specific things to pay attention to that are cool. So one thing I've been vouching for pretty much forever, ever since Golden Gals really became a thing, or even before Golden Gals became a thing, is an all-women team. All-women teams, I think, are undervalued. I think they're underdone, really. I think specifically MCC is very capable of making them happen, but I like seeing the all-women teams. I think that they're cool. I think it's good representation, and you know, if possible, should be not an aim to be in every event, but should be as frequent as possible, right? So this is a good one for me. JoJo and Haley make sense as a duo. Pearl and Lizzie there for sure. Pearl works. I don't think that's like necessarily that like an insane combination to work with. It's just that it works. It feels like it doesn't clash. It feels like it would be fine. So that's a good one. And then Orange team isn't really like a particular team that I think stands out. Orange is probably one of the weaker ones in terms of the team making side of things. Namely, I think like Scar and Michaela is an interesting dynamic, but not like a very straightforward, cohesive one, I think. Though this team would be fine. Giving Purpled Martin could be a little strong, but that's fine, right? Whatever. Then we have the Feinberg team. Immediate good points because you've given Feinberg a proper second frag, which is good. That's like something that's very important. I feel like a lot of people, when using the team making thing and making drafts, didn't give Feinberg a second frag, which is not good. We should be giving this man at least somebody who can get like 20th or higher. That'd be nice. He doesn't need to have more than one, he just needs one. So this is a good team, of course. Also, Ren and Doc is a good combo. I'm sure Ant Venom with Doc makes sense, etc. right, as well. So I'm sure the crossover here is good. Nice. Lime team, solid. Nothing super special about it. Just, yeah, that works. It's good, pretty good. Probably could be a little too strong, but it is what it is. That's fine. Green team, massive cook. This might be the best team on the draft that you've made. This green team is fantastic. My reasoning why is as follows. Ollie and Eloise as a duo, of course, makes sense. Ollie and Cam as a duo, of course, makes sense. Shane, I know, wants to team with Ollie. That's like a thing they've publicly said. So Shane and Ollie is a requested thing to an extent, right? Throwing Shane, Ollie, Eloise there together is all chill. Cam with Shane is not like a duo that I think is expected, but I think it's a duo that would work really well, and I really would love to see this green team become a real team. I think it would be genuinely very entertaining. I think it'd be a very good team. Also relatively balanced. I mean, Ollie is a second frag nowadays pretty comfortably, and with Eloise and Cam being lower tier players, generally speaking, should be relatively balanced for like a, let's say, a blank canvas type of roster, right? Cyan team here, just a good Realm team. Nothing really more to say than that. It's just a really good Realm team. Aqua team could slightly be more on the, or it is slightly on the experimental side, considering you're throwing Joel on a team with Abe, for example, right? But it should work. I think this would be, it's just a dude's team, right? It's a dude's team that will work, so I like it. Blue team is another Realm team, I think, right? Yeah, that's another Realm team. Works, might be a little too strong, but it works, so that's chill. Purple team is another like team that I don't think stands out particularly for like cohesion, but it works. I think it works pretty well. And yeah, it's a fun team. And then pink, of course, makes sense. So that's the things I just, yeah. Pink is a variety team. Fruit berries easy to put with variety. Also fruit and gumi, of course. Good combination there. So yeah, that's my thoughts on this draft. Hopefully, in case you want to learn more about team making, maybe there's some things you could pick up from that. I don't want to spend too much time just looking at this because it's time to make a new draft with a new set of players. If I remember correctly, this set of players has 55 people, including some newcomers, whomst I'll put the newcomers and irregular players in a little tier right here. That being, Shield Chaos is an irregular player, Clown newcomer, Derapchu newcomer, Emma Roman, Elam newcomer. People. For the rest, you could throw in Flip and Green, right? Jeremy is an irregular player. Lagundo, technical newcomer. Link as well. Misty, of course, to an extent, is also an irregular player. Parker's a newcomer. Ryan's a regular player. Suns has only played once, but we don't really know how regular Suns is. Smant, a regular player. Speed Silver, technical newcomer. And for the most part, there's other people that are irregular too, but there's a batch of new people, etc. The previous draft, this one, focused more on looking at signups and learning. One thing I pointed out specifically is try to figure out how many or how much can you focus on putting in popular creators to kind of emulate what it would be like from an organizer standpoint. Because as an event organizer, popularity is relevant to an extent when making teams, and especially with this roster, there are some very rare players. So if this is a hypothetical sign-up, you have to adapt to that. So that's the first lesson, I guess, to an extent, for team making here. This one is a very different one. You're now dealing with a very irregular or very different set of players. And now the main question is, how do you handle this amount of irregular players and newcomers? Who would you decide to bench, and who would you decide to pair up with who to make things work, right? To make things cohesive. So let's get started. First, I kind of want to take a look at top frags right here. I think it's very important to look at your potential S tiers, because I feel like in this instance, your S tiers are going to be pretty much guaranteed in. Being probably 5-up Ant Frost, Fruit Berries, of course. I would say Jojo. I think Dave can shoot for that too. Misty, of course. Pete. Phil can top frag, but not an S tier, of course. Joel top frags, though. I would say Joel's at least borderline S tier. So that's 8 standout players. I think Phil can be thrown in as a top frag. And then we'd probably throw in like a newcomer, maybe like Parker, because he is mechanically talented enough to be a top frag, or Forsey. I will say this is probably going to be the first draft where I bench a newcomer, at least, because I don't want to just full send newcomers everywhere and make it not feel like MCC anymore, right? So I'm going to go for Parker as my other top frag, I think, probably. Yeah, we'll play around with this. So colors are mostly irrelevant, right? but I'll just put people in colors that I think just kind of fit the vibe. That's very blue. Fruit berries, super orange for some reason. Antfrost. We'll put actually 5 up is the cyan. King, Jojo red. Smallish beans is super yellow, and then Parker's on purple, I guess. We'll put Parker in pink and Antfrost in purple. No, Ant's here and Joel's there. There you go. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. So what types of signups do we have here, or what types of people do we have here that we can work around with? So I see Clown Pierce, and of course Clown Pierce is going to be high in demand for an MCC, of course, but more so, who would we pair him up with? I think the most logical people to put Clown with are Phil, Clown Nose Misty, I think Clown Nose Dave, and Parker, of course. Don't know, I mean, I don't know, you could make a lifesteal team to an extent, right? You could throw Darapchu in there, do Clown, Parker, Darapchu. And do we have another lifestealer on here that's weak enough to go there? I don't think so. But you could throw in Amy, for example, right? And that'd be chill, right? That could be a team. Realistically speaking, that would make sense. SB you could throw in, but it might be a little too strong. Because this is probably a lower comp trending event from what we are seeing thus far. I would say you could throw Toby on here. That should be fine. I think that could be balanced. There you go. That's a team, I guess, to an extent. So that's your first team for now, I guess, to start a draft. I also like going for like an Among Us type of team here, in which we'll do a 5-up and Scott duo. I feel like that hasn't happened in a long time, and I kind of want to throw Kara and Chilled on there. I don't know if that makes sense, but that feels like it could be cool. Is that balanced compared to Pink? Possibly. I mean, Scott with MCC knowledge could do about as well as Clown Pierce. 5-up will do better than Parker. Darapchu's a little stronger than Chilled. Kara and Toby kind of depends. But, yeah, close enough. Honestly, pretty close. Also, 5-up just came off of a win, so whatever. Anyways, continuing forward, I think, okay, so the main possible issue here is trying to figure out whomst can get a stronger player on their team. I'm thinking Smant you put with Fruit, of course, right? That's like an opening play here for sure. I don't really know how we round that team out, but we'll get to that later. I think Mog Swamp could go there pretty comfortably, and maybe like a Scar could be really fun, right? We'll get to that in a little bit though. Green, maybe as well. Who else would we put where? The one issue that I have kind of set up here is in terms of like Elm or Emarom. My list of good fits has shrunk. Emarom, however, could still very easily go with Pete. Of course, that's a very simple combination there. We also have Ryan Higa, who we could pair up with somebody. I think you could do like a Vault Hunters team, which you would also probably want Pete for, unless you throw in H and Ryan with Emarom and Pete, which I think could be pretty fun. I think this could be a pretty valid team. Colors we'll fix at the end, because this wouldn't really make sense from a colors standpoint, but this is fine. I think we'll throw Jordan with Dave. I think that's a pretty comfortable spot to put them. Okay, now we need to look into some other people. So we have Ant, we have Jojo. Jojo would get who? Jojo, Amy, of course, is safe. Amy, Shelby, Jojo is safe. That could work. Speed Silver. Not a bad fit either, of course. Speed Silver and Jojo are very much friends. Speed Silver, you know, some of you might think, whoa, strong, but I think modern day Speed Silver will not be an S tier for MCC gameplay, so it should be fine. Could even throw in, just for the sake of guessing the balancing, could even throw in like a Hermit duo there, right? I'm also seeing, in terms of Hermit duos, Misty with Imp and Skiz podcast is kind of a banger, so that should be just an approach we take. I think SB could be on there, and that's a good team. Maybe a little too good, but that's a good team, right? Whatever, that works. Lagundo could also have gone here very easily. I do think I have thrown in a few too many newcomers and irregular players for this draft. Because I feel like you still want to rely on your base roster a lot. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Gumi with Ant Frost makes sense. Okay. Who am I putting with Phil's in Minecraft? I feel like Shelby. Probably. Amy could also work. Tina, right? Who is the second frag though? Callum, probably? I think so. I think it's gonna have to be Callum CPK. Because, I mean, I would put him with Joel, but I fear that... Or Sneak. Oh, wait. No. Sneak Snag. There you go. That works. Yeah. Okay. I overlooked my options. And then Callum goes with what's his name? Joel. Grian just feels like a easy fit there. I mean, Grian here could also work very easily, right? That'd be cool. Just got to think of how you round out those teams. I think Grian here just makes a bit more sense. You can't really throw Jimmy on there. That's a little too strong, right? But Jimmy could go with... we could throw Jimmy on red. I think Speed Silver and Jimmy could get along pretty well. They're both from the United Kingdom. That works. That's a combination. Ooh. Now what? Or actually, if we throw Amy on there, we can throw Sons on here as well. And now that is a interesting team. Do you want to throw in Jimmy into this roster? Jimmy could still go with Dave and Jordan, I think, very comfortably. Maybe throw like Mythical Sausage on there. That's like a rounded out team, right? That should be balanced and works. Then with Grian's team, we probably put Scar. Yeah, that just works. Fruit and Smant gets Shelby, probably. Or do I need Shelby for another team? No, we want Mog Swamp here, right? Mog Swamp and Shelby works too, actually. That's a cool team. Phil and Sneeg could get maybe Lagundo and like Gluon or something, right? Like that could be kind of a fun. This could be kind of an insanely fun team. I actually love that. For some reason that works in my brain. I don't know. It just feels like it would be a really fun team. Gluon with Phil's of Minecraft feels like a great combination. Then we have Ant and Gumi left. I was gonna say throw Tina on there. I'm trying to think of how you would make that work though, because we don't really have the resources left. I think. I mean, I guess Bad could go there, but even then, it's like I don't know, man. I don't know. See, from an organizer standpoint, with the roster I already have present, Tina is like the #1 priority to put in at this point. Because she's Tina. Right? That's the reason. I'm trying to think of... I might need to shuffle some people around to make it work, though. Who else could I even pair Tina up with? Toby, right? That's kind of my main hope. Toby and or Clown. I mean, I could just maybe move... Clown Tina is an easy combo, of course, but then I need to make it cohesive, which is the difficult part, considering how deep into teams I am right now. Yeah, that is quite a peculiar issue that we're dealing with right now. I mean, you could also do Parker on blue. But then I have Dave left, which doesn't really help, necessarily. That doesn't solve my problem. Tina with Ant and Gumi still works. I mean, it's not like the most cohesive combo, but it works. It is a combination that works. I just don't know if, besides Bad, I guess, that would just have to be the team. Does it? Do I have another option? I mean, Elam knows Tina, right? So Elam could be a cool person, but that's just not a strong enough team, I think. Do we have a stronger person I can put there? No, I don't think so. That's the main problema we're dealing with right now. That is actually really difficult. Wow. We just commit to this, I guess. I mean, Ant is the best player individually. No, it's Fruit. But Fruit's team composition compared to Ant's is not that different. Slightly different. I'd say Shelby, honestly, is probably a third frag here. The balancing is not the best. I'm gonna be very honest, but it is what it is. Who cares, man? The teams are fun. That's good enough. I could even maybe throw Ryan Krinios, actually. Hold on. This might actually solve things. That's very interesting. It's a very interesting team now. But, yeah. Sure. Sure thing, man. Yep. Yep, something. That's something for sure. Okay. I mean, it works. It's just like not the most straightforward combination of people. Okay. So let's shuffle some colors. Now, obviously, pink is going to be pink based off of just lifesteal appeal. Toby, popular. 3 newcomers. Kind of have to put that on pink. I kind of like a lot of these colors already. I actually might just keep the colors as is. No, I think I'm going to move. I think this will become yellow. Would this just be red? Could be, right? Could be red, maybe. Could be red. I feel like a Fruit and Smant duo is very exciting too, though. I feel like this can be like a very comfortable like aqua or something. But I like aqua being aqua, but aqua can also be like orange. Like this is orange makes sense, right? Does that feel orange? That feels relatively orange. That feels like moderately orange, which then means this would be aqua, which yeah, that could be aqua, and then this would be red. And yeah, that feels like red. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I think we can still move some stuff around to maybe like iron things out in terms of colors. I think this team could be not cyan. I think this could be a different color. This also feels like it could be pretty comfortably orange. It's not giving them best orange vibes. What about like a lime? That doesn't feel bad to put it on lime. That feels like a pretty solid lime, honestly. A positively solid lime. I kind of like that as a lime. This would then become cyan. I mean, it's peat and H-bomb. So, or it could become, oh, this could be a purple. Actually, hold on. Yeah. That's supposed to be purple. Yeah. And this becomes the cyan, of course. This is such a cyan-coded team. Yeah. Okay. Should I try to explain? I don't know if I can explain. I don't know if I can explain the reasoning of the colors, but this feels correct now. This now makes sense. We have corrected ourselves on this front. Okay, I'll try to go over the teams and try to explain it to an extent. So, red team, Fruitberry, Smallant, of course, you know, Canadian duo, HPG duo, they're really good friends in general, whatever. Mog Swamp fits in pretty comfortably there. Smallant knows Mog Swamp. That works. I think Smant and Shelby also know each other. Shelby also knows Mog Swamp, knows Fruit, so that comes together cohesively. Also, in terms of team composition, Fruitberries is a standout player in this roster, which means that he doesn't get like a definitive second frag, considering he gets Shelby and Mog Swamp, who are both probably third frags more than bottom frags in my opinion, but I could be wrong. Either way, yeah, that's the composition. The reason it's on red is because Smallant is, of course, still somebody people would be very excited for MCC, despite him already having played one time. Fruitberries would be returning for this theoretically as well. That's very hype. Shelby, Mog Swamp, also people that you know, are bringing excitement in terms of teams, right? Next up, we have the orange team consisting of Misty, SB737, Impulse, and Skiz. This could arguably be a hype color team. However, I think the competition for some odd, interesting, whatever teams is pretty high. I think this is also a very good orange team. Orange teams are in a very particular spot when it comes to team announcements because they follow up the opening announcement, right? If the opening is super strong, you can't have an orange team that's a letdown. This is a pretty strong, solid, I would say a strong, not, you know, good opening, a red team. I'd say in terms of this potential that this roster has, I'd give it like a solid 8 of an opening. This orange team is a fantastic follow-up. SB returns, Misty gets to play a non-Pride event, and you have an Imp and Skiz duo. This is like a 10 out of 10, maybe 9.5 follow-up as an orange team. Moving along, yellow team, surprise, appearance from Speed Silver here, of course, duoing up with JoJo from his only MCC appearance. Amy and Sunset, very easily combined with JoJo here. I think Speed Silver gets along well with the rest of the team comfortably as well. Maybe Speed Silver and Amy would know each other from Rising, but yeah, cohesively decent. It's a solid yellow team. Usually the yellow and the blue team are going to be some of your lesser exciting teams, generally just because they're in the mid-range. I think in this instance it's more about cohesion, where I think the yellow team works, but it, cohesive wise in terms of like excitement and team composition, is on the lower end for what we have drafted. Lime team, you get to an extent of Vault Hunters team, not really. Amarome is, I don't think, at all involved with Vault Hunters, but a very solid team. Pete and H, highly requested, or more so, highly anticipated, I guess, to return to MCC together at some point. And Ryan, hasn't played since Pride 23, 22, something like that. Emerone being a newcomer here as well, known for her Block Wars appearances with Pete, for example. Very solid, very cool. Next up, Green team, I already mentioned it. It's just a bunch of dudes. Bunch of, people in their 30s or close to their 30s at least. Just a bunch of dudes. And they're going to have a great time. They're going to have a blast. I really want to see a Dr. Gluon crossover with Phil and Sneak now. Now that I've put it on the board, I feel like it would be great. Lagundo here fits in very nicely. Lagundo should know Phil, I think. So that's a crossover connection to an extent there. Maybe Sneak and Lagundo will be familiar with each other from Block Wars. But yeah, very interesting composition to set the stage for Green there as well. A team that is more on the well-rounded side rather than having standout carries, of course. It probably has the least standout carry out of all of the teams, if I had to... Yeah, probably. Probably the least standout carry out of all of the teams, if I had to... Yeah, roughly. Next up, Cyan team. It's a pretty familiar squad. It's just your regular hype, MCC players pretty much coming together on a team. Brought together very cohesively by everyone. Really, everybody knows everybody, has a team with everybody at least twice, I want to say. Maybe, I don't think Green and Scar have teamed up together. That would be something people would be excited about. Of course, 3 Hermits on one team, Callum there to bring it all together. Very nice, you love to see it. Next up is the Aqua team, consisting of Antfrost, Ryan Cornelius, Elementina. This, from what you saw with team making, was the final team that ended up getting locked in. It's a bit of an interesting combination. It mostly relies on Antfrost to make things work. Everyone knows Antfrost in this team. Everyone's most familiar person, to an extent, is Antfrost. Elementina will know each other the most, probably. But there is a connecting piece to an extent here, at least. So, cool. Aqua team feels like it works pretty well because this team, due to the composition, isn't going to be your most hypest team, but it still has a newcomer and it has Tina on it, right? Which is something people are going to be, pointing out as, whoa, what a surprise, sick, right? Cool factor, essentially, which is awesome. Then we have the blue team, Dave, Jordan, Jimmy, and the Mythical Sausage. Would be a pretty solid combination. Of course, Dave and Jordan are a known combination in MCC from the Krakens. You also have Jimmy and Mythical Sausage, who are from many SMPs that they've shared, of course, and I think together it'll work decently well. It scores on blue because it's one of the lesser cohesive, lesser exciting teams comparatively, right? So, very cool. Purple team, 5-up, Scott, Kara, Chilled Chaos. It's an Among Us team. You love to see it. I think it would be really cool. I've been wanting to see Among Us teams in MCC more. I feel like there is potential, right? Whether you throw in Steve, for example, or Janet for an event like this, for example. If you ever even have an event that has the comp of blank canvas, for example. Is that the right one? No. Yes. No. Kickoff. MCC kickoff. That is the best type of comp to compare this to. This would feel like a pretty balanced team, and it would be cool, awesome. Especially for purple, it's like your later surprise type of team. You know, people would expect Scott to be in, people would expect Kara to be in, people would consider whether Fiwa would be in or not. Chilled wouldn't be expected, but it would be a nice surprise. And with Scott being confirmed on purple, the door is swung open for pink, where we get the insane surprise lifesteal trio of newcomers together with Tubbo, which would be a fantastic combination. I will say, debatably, you know, had I had Radoons on this list, I would have put Red in over Parker here, but Parker is still standalone a very exciting player to see featured in an event like this, of course, right, in an event like MCC, and together, you know, it's exciting. It's gonna bring a lot of attention to the event, a lot of new attention as well, from the more modern day Minecraft viewers, especially from the lifesteal audience, who are a bit more newly introduced to the streaming side of things and the Minecraft event scene in general. This kind of introduces, you know, thousands of new eyes to MCC, which is good, very positive. So, I mean, I've been saying lifesteal deserves to you know, get a spot in events like MCC. I think it's a mutually beneficial thing. Lifestealers get their name out there a bit more. MCC gets new audiences to, you know, pull in from. Yeah, that's my draft. Let me know, let me know your thoughts on my draft, and also show me your draft. If you want to submit something, please do it in my Discord primarily. If you want to submit on Reddit, there should be a mega thread for the Reddit submissions. I think so. The Reddit mods contacted me last time because they were like, Sir, you're too popular. Can you stop flooding the Reddit? And I was like, yeah, sorry, my bad. So hopefully we should have something set up for that next time. Anyways, that is my draft for this challenge. And yes, we will be doing this a lot. I was going to do this weekly, but because of event news being unpredictable and sometimes very spontaneous and frequent, it probably will be a bi-weekly thing-ish. Anyways, thank you for watching. See you later. Goodbye.